The courtroom was silent as Judge Boyd entered, his robe sweeping the floor with authority. The sound of his heels echoed in the space, commanding attention, and all eyes turned toward him. His sharp gaze swept the room, briefly resting on the defendant sitting in the back row. Marcus Turner, who appeared disinterested, his posture slouched as though he didn't care. The judge immediately sensed trouble and steeled himself for what was about to unfold. "Judge Boyd, we've waited long enough. Court is in session, and this is not a place for games or disrespect." Marcus looked up and noticed the glaring eyes of everyone in the room upon him. He quickly stood up, but the damage had already been done. He had arrived 15 minutes late. He had made everyone wait for him, and now he was in the spotlight, his tardiness no longer something he could brush off. Judge Boyd's eyes narrowed as he took in Marcus' demeanor. His silence seemed to further agitate the atmosphere in the courtroom. "Judge Boyd, Mr. Turner, this isn't your personal playground. You show respect for this court, or you will face the consequences." Marcus, not feeling the weight of the judge's words just yet, shifted in his seat. His eyes scanned the room, but he didn't feel the same sense of remorse that the judge expected. "Marcus, I'm sorry, Your Honor, traffic was a mess today." The judge leaned forward, resting his elbows on the bench as he stared down at the defendant. The usual murmurs in the room stilled, the air now charged with tension. The judge's voice rang out like a bell, cutting through the noise. "Judge Boyd, this is not about traffic, Mr. Turner. This is about accountability, responsibility, and respect. Something you clearly lack at this moment." Marcus shifted uncomfortably in his chair. His apologies felt hollow, and his previous arrogance began to slip. He had been late before, but this time the consequences seemed more severe. The judge was not going to let this slide, and Marcus knew it. His body tensed as he braced for what was to come. "Judge Boyd, you were scheduled to be here at 9 a.m. sharp. Instead, you waltz in as if we're all waiting on your convenience. Do you understand the gravity of this situation?" Marcus didn't reply immediately. His gaze dropped to the floor, and the anger that had swirled in him earlier began to dissipate. He could feel the eyes of everyone in the room on him, and for the first time, he felt like he was being judged for more than just the case at hand. He wasn't just late, he was showing disrespect for the entire process. Marcus, grumbling, "I get it, okay? I messed up, but can we just move on?" Judge Boyd's patience was running thin. His voice grew sharper, and his words cut through the air like a razor. "Judge Boyd, move on, Mr. Turner. Your actions in this court matter. Time is a valuable resource here. When you waste it, you waste everyone's time." The silence in the courtroom grew thicker. No one dared to speak, and everyone held their breath, waiting for Marcus' next move. He could feel their eyes on him, some with judgment, others with sympathy. The weight of the moment settled on his shoulders like a heavy burden. "Marcus, I understand, Your Honor. I'm sorry. I really am." Judge Boyd, leaning forward. "This is not just about an apology, Mr. Turner. This is about learning responsibility. Time is precious, not only in this court but in every aspect of life. You're not above this process, and your behavior has consequences. You need to understand that." Marcus sat back in his chair, absorbing the full weight of the judge's words. For the first time, he wasn't defensive or dismissive. He wasn't trying to make excuses. The truth of the situation was hitting him hard. He had been acting like the rules didn't apply to him, and now the consequences were becoming clear. "Judge Boyd, the law is not a suggestion. Mr. Turner, it's a responsibility that we all must uphold, regardless of personal circumstances. Time and respect are two things that should never be overlooked in this space." "Marcus, I know. I know now, Your Honor." The judge's voice softened slightly as he continued. "Judge Boyd, this court expects punctuality and respect from every person who enters here. I understand that things happen, but this is not a place where personal issues or distractions should interfere with your responsibility. This court doesn't wait for anyone." Marcus nodded slowly, still feeling the sting of the judge's words. He was beginning to realize the gravity of what he had done. His lateness wasn't just a simple oversight, it was a blatant disregard for the law and the time of others. "Judge Boyd, your lateness today will result in consequences. We will address this matter at the end of this session. For now, let's get to the heart of the case. As the session continued, Marcus tried to focus on the proceedings, but his mind kept drifting back to the earlier exchange. He kept replaying the words the judge had said over and over in his head. For the first time, he wasn't just thinking about his case, he was reflecting on his life choices. He had always brushed off rules, showing up late to meetings, appointments, and even work. It was part of his rebellious nature. But this court session had opened his eyes to something he had never considered before, the consequences of his actions. By the time the court took a short recess, Marcus was lost in thought. He stood up, stretching his legs, but the feeling of discomfort didn't go away. He had been reprimanded, but it wasn't just a slap on the wrist. The judge's words had hit him harder than anything he had heard in a long time. When the court reconvened, Marcus knew he couldn't escape the consequences any longer. The judge's eyes met his, and it was clear that the time had come to face the music. Judge Boyd, Mr. Turner, your lateness is a reflection of your disregard for the law and for this court. It's not just a matter of tardiness. It's a statement that you don't value the time of others. Today you will face the consequences for that lack of respect. Marcus's heart sank. He knew what was coming, but the full weight of it still hit him like a ton of bricks. He had no idea how severe the consequences would be, but he knew they were inevitable. He wasn't getting away with this one. Judge Boyd, I'm imposing a fine on you, Mr. Turner. It's not just a financial penalty, it's a reminder. A reminder that your time is not more valuable than anyone else's, and if you continue to disrespect this court, there will be harsher consequences waiting for you, Marcus. Understood. Your Honor, I get it now. I won't take this lightly again. The judge nodded, his expression slightly softer now. Marcus wasn't fighting back, and for once he wasn't making excuses. The apology he had given earlier was sincere, and it seemed like the judge had seen that. Judge Boyd, I'm glad to hear that, Mr. Turner, but know this, you won't always be given second chances. The law doesn't wait for anyone. Your actions have consequences, and today, you've learned that lesson the hard way. Marcus sat back in his seat, contemplating the judge's words. He wasn't angry anymore. He wasn't defensive. He was simply processing what had happened. The weight of the lesson he had learned began to sink in. For the first time, he truly understood what the judge had meant about respect. It wasn't just about being on time, it was about valuing other people's time, their efforts, and the system that kept things in order. Judge Boyd, you've been given a fine, and that is your punishment. But this court's expectation of you doesn't end here. You will take this lesson and use it to grow. Understand that how you treat others, especially in a place like this, determines your future actions. Marcus, softly, thank you. Your Honor, I won't forget this. The session continued, but for Marcus, the day had already changed him. He wasn't the same person who had walked in late, full of arrogance. He had learned something, and for the first time in a long while, he felt like he had a real understanding of what it meant to be responsible. The lesson had been hard, but it had been necessary. If you've ever found yourself in a situation where respect and accountability were on the line, hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more gripping courtroom stories. Share your thoughts in the comments. What would you have done if you were in Marcus' shoes? Let us know, and stay tuned for more emotional and impactful content like this.